Good morning, Peaceful Place. How is everybody? Teacher Brianna here. So today we have a very exciting lesson about the letter sound. Do you know what letter sound this is? Letter sound D. D. Letter sound D. D. Now, can you think of anyone with a name that starts with letter sound D? I can. At Peaceful Place West, Peaceful Place Montessori West, we have a student named Dash. Hi, Dash. How are you? I miss you. Hi, Dash. And I don't know, maybe some of you guys have siblings or parents or have friends with names that start with the letter D. I can think of the name David or Denise or Darlene. And this is I love this letter sound. There's a lot of words and a lot of things that start with this letter sound, D, D. So, before we get started, I figured we could do some yoga today. And in honor of our letter sound D, I wanted to do poses that all started with D. So today we will be doing downward dog, upward facing dog. We'll be doing the dancer pose. We will also be doing the dolphin. And I just found a new pose that I've never done before, and it's called the drinking bird. And I figured, why not? We'll throw that one in there too, the drinking bird. So go ahead and find some space on the floor. You can use a yoga mat or a blanket or a towel, or just stay on the floor. Just take your shoes off and meet me over here. Okay.
Now, once you get to your mat, take a big inhale and bring your arms up to the sky. Exhale them down to the floor and fold forward. It's okay if you can't quite touch or you need to bend your knees. Inhale your arms back up, then exhale them down to your side. Now step to one side of your mat and take another big inhale. Bring your arms up. This time, when you exhale your arms down, bring them to the mat and walk them forward. Press your hips up to the sky into downward facing dog. Press your heels into the floor, your hips to the sky, and your hands are grounded. Imagine your fingers are roots going into the ground. Take a deep breath. And when you exhale, bring your knees to the floor and press your feet back. Inhale and face up towards the sky into upward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. And when you're ready, come back to your knees. Put your hands to the ground, your feet back up, and press your hips up to the sky, back to downward facing dog. You might notice it's a little easier this time. Maybe your heels touch the floor. Take a couple more breaths. Then when you exhale, bring your knees back to the ground, your arms back. Press your feet into the floor and look back up into upward facing dog. Make sure to relax your shoulders. Come back to your knees, and this time go to your forearms and go put your hands into prayer position to dolphin pose. You're going to ground your toes and press your hips back up into the air, kind of like downward facing dog. But this time you're in dolphin pose. Dolphin pose stretches your shoulders. It's okay if you have to bend your knees. Go ahead and come back down. Put your hands on the floor and press your hips back up to downward facing dog. I'm sure you've noticed it's a lot easier this time around. to your knees, on your forearms, prayer position, and press your hips up to dolphin. If you have to bend your knees, that's okay. Now go ahead and come back down to standing position. Inhale, arms up. Exhale them down. And come to the middle of your mat. Next, we're going to be doing dancer's pose. Take your hand and grab the same heel. Tip forward and reach towards the wall. Try and find a place to balance. It's okay if it's kind of tricky. This side's kind of hard for me. Stand back up. Release your foot. Now for the next side. Take your other hand and your other foot. Lift your free hand and tip forward. Now try and push that foot into your hand. It'll help you balance. This side's a little bit easier for me. Stand back up. Now come to the middle of your mat. Put your feet hip width apart. Go up on your toes and bend your knees. Put your hands up like wings and head forward like you're going to take a drink. Drinking bird. Stand back up. Arms down. Let's try it from the side. Go up on your tippy toes. Bend your knees. Arms up, little wings, and your heads forward, taking a drink. Drinking bird. Imagine your toes are pushing into the floor like roots. Stand up. Inhale your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale down to the floor for the last time. Inhale your arms up and exhale to prayer position.
All right, how is everybody feeling? I'm feeling very light and relaxed, but also rejuvenated at the same time. It's funny how you can feel two opposite ways at the same time, relaxed and energized. All right, so let's get started. I wanted to show you guys something super cool. So do you remember my video from last week where we made a sourdough starter? Well, I've actually made quite a few since then, and I wanted to introduce you to Darlene. This is my little Darlene starter. Check out how much she's bubbled. I fed her this morning, and she is just going crazy. So this is Darlene. It's good to name your starters, so we'll get back to that later, but I wanted to share another D sound, D name, and also I made some dough. This is pizza dough that I will be making later. It's actually rising right now, so I'm going to cover it back up. And I made this pizza dough, dough, with Darlene. How fun is that? Okay, so let's get started. I want to introduce you to a little matching game that I sent to your parents, and I figured we could do it together. And this is what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be your little control board. It's got all these pictures on it of things that start with the letter D. So let's get started. Let's mix up these extra pictures here. We have all these other pictures here, and we're gonna match them. Let's mixy match. Let's see what we start with. Oh, this is a good one. Do you know what this is? This is called a dragonfly. They actually have lots of dragonflies at my mom's river house in Earp, California. And dragonflies like very hot weather, and they like to be on the water, and they can be in lots of colors, like blue and green and iridescent shiny colors. So I'm going to take my dragonfly and see if I can find its match. Does that look it? That doesn't look like it. That doesn't either. But that sure does. So I'm gonna match it right on top. Let's see what's next. Ooh, this is a good one. The next letter sound, or the next picture with the letter sound D, is this. Do you know what that is? Bet you a lot of you do. A lot of you like to play with these. They are dinosaurs. You don't like to play with the real ones though, right? No, just the little figures, right? Dinosaur. Dinosaur. Let's find the match. Do you see the match? That? No. Kind of similar, but no. There it is. Place that right on top. Let's see what's next. Ooh, this is a good one. Dice. Dice. We actually have a dice game that we play at our school at Peaceful Place Montessori West. And it's a really fun game. It's a fun game to get used to numbers and quantity. Yeah, so this is a dice. I will find its match here. Place it right there. Okay, let's see what's next. Oh, I love this. I have one of these in my little boy's room. Do you know what this is? This is called a dream catcher. Dream catcher. Do you know what a dream catcher is? This is actually something that you find in a lot of Native American traditions, where it's said that if you put it in your bedroom, the bad dreams get stuck up here and you only have good dreams for the night. And I love that idea. So this is a dream catcher. And let's see if we can find the match to the dream catcher. See it right there. All right, next up. Ooh, I know you guys like this one. What's that? A dragon. Dragon. All right, let's find the dragon match. All right, there it is. Alrighty, next up is, you know what this is? A duck. Duck. You can probably see these around, probably Lake Washington. I've seen them at Lake Union, but not to be confused with geese. Those have the long necks, but this is a duck. Alrighty. Oh, this is a good one. Do you guys know what this is? Have you ever played this game before? This is called darts. 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 And this is actually a very fun game. Some people have it in their garages. They have them sometimes at restaurants. It's a little bullseye right there, and you throw these things right here. They're called darts, and you throw them at the bullseye and see if you can get it in the middle. And the closer you get to the middle, the more points you get. It's a pretty fun game. Maybe you guys can make a dart board. Play with your family. And the last D sound. Can you see that? That is a beautiful dress. Dress. Let's see if we can find the match. The last one right here. All right, I did it. Now I would recommend, my pictures were in black and white, but it would be wonderful to see you guys draw or paint, or color on them. You could paint them too if you want. If you color one set and leave one set black and white, or you can color both sets, or you can leave them black and white, whatever you want to do. But I would love to see your work, and I hope you enjoyed the letter sound D. And I would also love it if, while you're at home, you can think of some words that start with D. Maybe things around the house, like some of you have dogs. I used to have a dog. I love dogs. They're my favorite. Let's see what else you could have around the house that starts with a D. D. You probably wouldn't have a dragon around the house. That would be kind of dangerous. There's a good one. D, D. There's so many words that start with D. Such a great, great letter sound. Well, anyways, I would like to read a book with you guys today, and it is about the wonderful letter sound D. Well, it's not necessarily about it, but it's got a lot of D words in it. All right, ready? Here we go.
Dilly Dog's Dizzy Dancing. Dilly was a dancing dog. She loved doing her dizzy dances. Some of her dancing was very daring, and some was downright dangerous. Dilly Dog's dizzy dancing led to disaster after disaster. The kids at Alphabetty's school thought Dilly was a little daffy. They worried about Dilly. At dawn one day, Dilly was doing her usual dizzy dancing. She bounced on her bed as she did a wild dance. Suddenly, she hit the ceiling. Bang! Then she hit the floor. Thud! "Dilly," called Daddy Dog, "come downstairs and see what you've done." Uh-oh. Dilly Dog felt dreadful when she saw the disaster. A flower pot was damaged. Daffodils were dumped on the floor. "I'm sorry, Daddy," said Dilly with dismay. "My dancing was a little too dizzy." "Oh, Dilly," Daddy replied, "I know you adore your dizzy dancing, but do try to be a little bit more careful." The next day, after school, Dilly danced down to the boat dock. "She's a darling dog," whispered Dory Duck, who worked at the dock, "but she's a tad dippy." "She's definitely a dear," whispered Dory's helper, Danny, "but she's a tad dotty." Suddenly, Dilly decided to dance on the boat dock. She was not wearing a life jacket, and Dilly was dizzy from dancing. She darted, she dipped, and she dove through the air. "Be careful," cried Dory and Danny together, but Dilly Dog accidentally danced right off the end of the dock. The water was deep. Dilly was in danger. Without delay, Dory and Danny dove down into the deep, dark water. They dragged Dilly up, up, up. Dilly Dog paddled back to the dock. Dory and Danny duck paddled beside her. Daddy Dog came dashing down to the dock. "Dilly, you're drenched," said Daddy, "and you could have drowned." "I'm so sorry, Daddy," said Dilly with dismay. "My dancing was definitely too dizzy." "Dilly," said Daddy, "it makes me sad, but I must ask you to stop dancing." Then he bundled her up and carried her home. Dilly Dog was feeling dreadful when she arrived at school the next day. She told Alphabetty about the disaster on the bed. She told Alphabetty about the disaster on the dock. Dilly hung her head and cried. "Daddy is disappointed in me. My friends think I'm dopey. I'm really down in the dumps." Dilly's tears dripped on her dress. "Don't be sad, Dilly," said Alphabetty. "You are a dear dog. You just need to learn to dance differently." Then Alphabetty said something that dumbfounded Dilly Dog. "Did you know that I used to be a dancer?" Alphabetty asked. "No," whispered Dilly. "Yes," said Alphabetty. "I can show you delightful dances, dreamy dances, dazzling dances. Would you like to learn?" "Oh, yes," whispered Dilly. Alphabetty did some dance steps, and Dilly tried to do them too. Some of the steps were difficult. Some were demanding, but Dilly was determined. Dilly Dog danced home that day, but she danced differently than she had ever danced before. She waved to Dory and Danny Duck. They called, "Hello, Dilly. You're doing a dandy dance today." "Daddy, look," said Dilly when she arrived home. "I'm done with dizzy dancing. Watch me dance now." "Dilly," he cried, "your dance is dazzling." Her smile was dazzling too, and Dilly never had a dancing disaster again. Well, almost never.